live now. Welcome to Beyond the Pixel, and today we're talking about the Xbox One X. Is it the most powerful console out there? Find out now on Beyond the Pixel. If this is your first time on Beyond the Pixel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. That's right. Hit subscribe and hit the bell button to be notified when I go live here on Beyond the Pixel so you can join the discussion. Don't miss a thing. Gentlemen, I have with me Dismount and Joe, aka the Jozu, the merry men, the merry gamers of Jozu here, and we got a spicy one for you guys. Very spicy. Xbox One X is out. We all know it as, you know, Project Scorpio before, but today is going to be awesome. We're going to have a fun time. We're going to discuss the specs of it. We're going to discuss, is it the most powerful console? First impressions of it. None of us own it because we're not scrubs, but
true story.
But when you guys, we're going to talk about before the Xbox One X was released. What did you guys think of when Microsoft first announced this at E3, like a year and a half ago, or last year, or whatever?
Take it away, Dismount.
Well, my whole thing with this, like, mid-generation console updates is, like, I feel like they're slowly going towards, like, the PC era. They're trying to make consoles more like PC, where you get these upgrades. The Xbox One S came out, what, last year?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's literally 1 year in between. So everybody that got the One S to do 4K, now they're like, hey, here's another new console for you. It's like, why even release the One S if you're going to release the One X? I feel like it was dumb, bad marketing, and I feel like it's going to be bad.
Well, the problem with the just to add some clarification, the One S does not do like true 4K. It does like an upscale 4K.
Yeah. I know.
So,
we'll get into that later.
To your point, well, I mean, but Joe, what was your first impressions?
It's hard for me to understand, but as a business aspect, you do need to evolve, and with games getting better and better, it does give the developer something to like add improvements, do something different. I don't know. It's interesting to see. I know they have like the PS2s, PS3s where they'd edit some of the specs here and there, so it's not really the newest thing, but too much. I'm interested in the Xbox One X. I was actually going to buy one, but I didn't. I'll probably buy one in a bit.
Joe, don't you dare waste your money on that.
Well, I got to buy a 4K TV first.
Exactly. You need a 4K TV, and
you need more than a 4K TV. You need a 4K TV with HDR to fully get the power of the Xbox One X.
And we're going to get into that whole HDR debate, because when I looked on their website and it was like HDR off, HDR on, it just looked brighter. It's like they purposely made the non-HDR dimmer, and then they made the HDR just like look brighter. It didn't change anything, the color or anything like that. It just looked brighter.
It's like anything else, though. I mean, you're not going to be able to fully appreciate it unless you're looking at it on an HDR monitor or screen. So what they're basically doing is just dumbing it down to show you a comparison of what HDR versus regular color dynamics looks like. Because if you're watching it on a 1080p TV, they're gonna be like, "Here's it with HDR," and you're like, "I don't see anything different. It looks exactly the same."
Right. So yeah, if you don't get the hardware, then you're not really taking advantage of it. But I want to get into the my first thoughts of it when I first saw this, and it was touting all these amazing specs. 6 teraflops. What the heck is a teraflop? 4K, HDR, yada yada yada. A bunch of technical jargon that sounds really great on paper, and to the average consumer, this sounds like the most advanced piece of hardware that you would ever find anywhere. And I don't want to say that it definitely doesn't deserve a title of most powerful PC, because we're going to get into that. But just to go down the specs, on Microsoft's website, I've pulled stuff from their website. It's 40% more powerful than any other console So in comparison, when they say 40% more powerful, I am assuming they're comparing it to the PS4 Pro, which is the only console we really have to compare it to the Xbox One X.
It's the 40%. It's 1.4 times more powerful than the PS4 Pro.
Right, 1.4, not 2, not 3, only 1.4. It has 6 teraflops. Like I said, I actually looked up what a flop was, which a flop.
Tell us what a teraflop is.
A flop is a floating point operations per second, and it's just a way of measuring the speed of a processor. That's all it is. It's just the speed of the processor. All right. It's rocking it has 8 gigs of RAM. They try to confuse you by saying flash memory, but that's RAM. 1 terabyte of internal storage, HDD. Now this is not SSD. No, it's SSD. Oh, I say SDD. An SSD.
It's SSD.
You know, it's not. That's flash storage. SSD.
Solid.
This is
solid state drive.
Right, a solid state drive.
Which is SSD.
Yes, flash memory. That's true flash memory, like your little USB sticks. That's flash memory, and only has a terabyte HDD. I like that. I like how it's a terabyte, but I feel like they could have went. I guess to keep it slim, you didn't want an SSD and an HDD, but I feel like they could put an SSD in there, 250 gig, and then just sell
an operating system off of it or something.
My PlayStation has a solid state hard disk drive hybrid, 1 terabyte in it.
They could have did that. They could have did a hybrid. It would have made it even faster because all your games are going to be stored off there, and that's moving parts and spinning. When you have a hybrid, you're kind of like half moving parts, half whatever. I go full in SSD and then use the HDD for storage, but just not to confuse you guys out there who are not as tech savvy, SSD is just way faster than a hard drive because there's no spinning disk whatsoever, which if you're going to go in the future, you should start incorporating SSDs in your consoles, because let's be real here, we're probably eventually at some point are just going to get an external hard drive anyway to increase our storage, because if you buy a lot of games and you play a lot, you're going to have to either keep deleting games, reinstalling, that's adding hours of wasted time of reinstalling games, or just have an external HD hard drive.
Call of Duty Infinite Warfare literally takes up almost 1/10 of a 1 terabyte hard drive.
Right.
Not to mention some of the updates.
Like almost 100 gigs. So.
Or DLC.
Right, or DLC. Except Infinite Warfare. Infinite Warfare don't get no DLC. That trash game. But all right, 12 gigabytes of HDDR5, just to give you guys perspective. That's the RAM for the GPU. So that's just graphical RAM essentially. I know Dismount knows it. I didn't know if you knew it, Joe, but I know not all our viewers would know it. So that's what that is. That's graphical RAM or graphics RAM. That just because it's essentially caching the memory to make it process faster, so it's not putting the load onto your processor in terms of processing. See, HDMI standard stuff, and then I found this interesting, and we're going to bring this up later. It's 2160p 4K, 60 hertz. That's key there, 60 hertz. So we'll never go beyond 60 FPS. And AMD FreeSync. I found that quite interesting that they have partnered with AMD instead of NVIDIA for this. I bet Microsoft was going on the cheaper end. And it also has 8 cores. And don't let that get in your way. I bet that's an AMD processor. A lot of AMD processors are cheaper because they have more cores, but the processing power is equivalent to a dual-core Intel processor, or a dual-core processor with hyperthread, which is creating 2 virtual cores with the 2 physical cores built into the Intel processor. I don't want to get too technical with that, but on paper, this looks like a bad mofo, and compared to the other consoles. It also in the box you'll get your console, your wireless controller, AC adapter. You get a 14-day Xbox Live Gold trial, which I feel like you should get like a 30-day gold trial for buying something more like expensive and touting and all this crap. And you get 1 month Xbox Game Pass subscription trial, which I have no idea what that is. I guess you get like what, free games or something for a month, or like their subscription service.
Demo games.
Yeah, no. Steam, you get demo games for free. So
not demos, but they're like full access to games.
So
titles.
Like pre-beta stuff, like all that type of stuff.
Like
it's kind of like the same thing as PlayStation's PS Now, where you can play games. Basically, you just stream them. You don't actually download them.
All right, so, all this looks great on paper, but I want to get into, is this the best console though for your buck? Like, is this console worth shelling out $500? $499 plus tax, to get something that not every game right now supports. I'll leave you guys on the floor of that. If you had the money, if I gave you $500 right now and say, go buy a console, not the Xbox One X, but a console, would you get the Xbox One X?
No.
My friends play on PlayStation, but I definitely would buy one. Man, Skate 3 Enhanced Edition. Come on, it's been 10 years. What up? Skyrim Enhanced 4K. First, I had to buy 4K TV, but I spent like, what was the Xbox on first release? $500. I mean, it's not really a big jump. I mean, I hate rebuying systems whatever they call it,
like mid-life cycle.
But they are trying. I mean, they said it multiple times. They're trying to get away from new system releases. So I think this is like a step to for them to get into the, like, can we actually do this? Just upgrade systems at halfway, and then instead of releasing a whole new system, and then now I have like Xbox 360, Xbox One, and now I have Xbox. I guess it wouldn't be X. It'd be like Xbox One, 2,
X2.
But now I have all my useless my Xbox games sitting there collecting dust. So I think it is a decent step in the right direction, but it's something console gamers will have to get used to. Like, get used to like upgrading or buying mid-season, because personally I do think it is a way to go. Not the best way to go. They should do like full upgrades, or at least not just like 0.5s. And then, I mean, Sony went about it super lazy. They did like a 4K streaming. I mean, imagine, like, can you even stream 4K? I mean, I don't.
I can.
You can. There's data caps for everything now, depending on who you are. And that's one thing with the Xbox. Like, to get some of those updates for like Quantum Break, it was a 145 gig update to like enhance it. So yeah, I would. I think it's the way they're going to go, and I will be disappointed if they go away and I wasted all this money buying an Xbox One X, Xbox Scorpio, PS4 Pro. So yeah, give me $500. I'll probably invest in the stock market, but
we'll see. And with that, I was reading an article today that they were kind of talking to Microsoft about, like, well, now that this is out, like, what's next? Like, they're already like looking to the future, and they said they didn't really have a direction for what they wanted to go with the next console, but they said that a big thing with doing these mid-season like upgrades to consoles was a big thing was compatibility. And like Microsoft right now is doing a big thing with their Xbox with going through and like making all these games that you have for Xbox and Xbox 360 compatible now on the Xbox One. And they said that's a big thing for them moving forward, is that's going to be one of their main focuses, is making it to where you don't have this huge library of, Xbox One games, and then all of a sudden the new console comes out and now you have nothing for it. And I think part of that too is because another article I was reading, they were talking about console exclusives and just overall game library. And right now, like, Sony has so much more of a game library, and that's what's hurting a lot of the Xbox console sales right now, is that they just don't have the library like PlayStation does. So if you're, if it's potatoes to potatoes, both systems are equal, people are going to buy PlayStation because there's just more games on PlayStation, unless you're like a hardcore Halo fan or hardcore Forza fan, and that's what you want to get the console for.
See, with that, before, let's take a little history lesson. Every time a new console came out, let's just say back in the birth of consoles, every time a new console came out was due to technology progressing.
Right.
We went from no bits to 1 bit, 2 bit, 8 bit, 16 bit, 64, 3D, CD, DVD, Blu-ray. Technology kept progressing, causing the console to evolve. But to your point, Dismount, you don't want a huge library of Xbox One games, and now a new console comes out and you can't play all those games. So
Right.
I feel like with this, Microsoft's making a statement saying we are no longer going to create a new console, in terms of rebranding it to to make it not compatible with old games or whatever. You're not going to see an Xbox One X I don't even know, Xbox One something. It's Xbox Pi. You're not going to see an Xbox Pi,
2.
Xbox Two, a sequel to the original where it just has a completely different library. I feel like we're now at that point, at least until the next greatest whatever comes out, where they have to do whatever. But I feel like at this point, we shouldn't expect a new platform. I would say, there we go, new platform for Xbox or PS4 or PlayStation, because if they do, then you're kind of putting yourself kind of in a hole, because now you have to create a brand new OS for your console, and then now all these developers have to reconfigure their games if they're developing a game or whatever to match this new system, because that's when games take a while to come out and a new console comes out and you're in that in between time. Like, perfect example, Last Guardian, they probably exported their code to PS4, but it felt very like a PS3 PS2 game in terms of controls. So I feel like consoles have always been computers, to say, and they are becoming more and more closer to PC gaming, without being a computer. I would say, I guess, a regular desktop or so. So my next question is, because Xbox One X is touting all these flavorful technical stuff that we all love and enjoy, can this compete with PC gaming? And PC gaming has I would say a range of low to high. Low end being the cheap PCs, high end being like the $2,000 and up PCs. Where would you put Xbox in the range? High, medium, or high, medium, low? Where would you guys put it?
I would say it's somewhere in like the medium range. I mean, it's able to do 4K, which with technology advances, stuff gets cheaper. So I mean, you can get cheaper graphics card now. They can do 4K. Big things are processor. I mean, that's where most of your money is going to go, is processor and graphics card. But I feel like you could probably build a PC that could do about the same as what an Xbox One could. Xbox One X could, for probably about $1,000.
Very true. Probably a bit more powerful too.
Yeah.
Like stuff off Newegg and probably run a bit better. Consoles have always been casual, while PCs have always been a bit more hardcore players.
Yeah.
Nice. Just like, I guess that's what they're trying to get away from, and which I think PC should continue to focus on, is getting out of that hardcore player niche. Like, only hardcore people with money and like a hobby. That's the word. While consoles, like, anyone can pick up, go buy Call of Duty, Ace Combat 7, or FIFA. Whereas people who play PC play early access, Player Unknown Battlegrounds. I'm joking. Or like Arma, Mill Sims, like the sim games, like the simulator games. That
Right.
Well,
not graphic intensive games.
Like a big thing that sets apart console from PC is I can go out and buy any game right now for PS4, and I know it's going to run on my PS4. I can go out and buy any game for Xbox One, and know it's going to run on that Xbox One. I can go build a computer this year, and next year and be able to max out all the settings. Next year, I go to go get a game, and they've come out with some new stuff, and I put it on my computer. Well, now I can only run it on medium settings. You know,
Yep.
that's the big difference in console and PC is that, you know, I can go buy a game for a console and know it's going to run on that. The same on any console. I can go buy a game for a computer, and I don't even know if my computer has the minimum requirements to even run that game.
Or the windows, like if you want to play an older game, is the windows too far ahead? Are there patches to play like
Yep.
what's a good game like? God, I can't even remember the name, but it's an older shooter game.
There's a
It's
game that I had
yeah.
for that was on 3.5-inch floppy, and I tried to put it into not even a new computer, it was just a newer computer, and the processor was so fast that the game ran at like super speed, and you couldn't do anything. Was it Wings of Fury? And you had to take off from an aircraft carrier, and it was like you just straight up used the space bar and the arrow keys. And I went to go try and take off, and it was like, and just like fell on the ground.
Huh. Yeah, that's a speed running thing. Some guy was running like something through a computer, and since he got extra frames, it like shaved 10 seconds off their game, like being streamed or something. But that's neither here nor there. I guess kind of same situation.
Yep.
It's like I guess I can pull up Steam, right? You can move on.
Yeah, the next thing I wanted to discuss, because you guys make valid points, is, you know, I feel like Xbox One X, even though it touts all these fancy stuff, I feel like the power in the Xbox One X is the GPU. 12 gigabytes of GDDR5, GDR5 RAM. That's not, you don't find that in any type of low range or mid range graphics card.
I think the only one right now that has 12 gigs is the Titan X, which is like an $800 or $900 graphics card, I think, right now.
Right, and the problem, the consoles, one advantage consoles have over PCs is that your games are streamlined. You don't worry about a port being bad graphically when it comes to consoles. With PC, it's flipping up in the air depending on how lazy the developer is. If a game is solely made for PC first and then is exported to console, the game's amazing. But if it's like a AAA title, it's hit or miss on who's developing it, because it's not going to be the same team that's developing it for the Xbox or PS4. It could be a completely different team. Perfect example being Mortal Kombat X. Who developed it for the PC was a completely different team, or programmed or whatever. It's a completely different team than who ported it for PS4 and Xbox. So
that's the same thing with 7 Days to Die.
Right. So completely different teams the game feels completely different because of that. I'll bring up my questions here. So, oh man, scroll all the way to the bottom. There we go. So, I mean, I put it at the low to medium range. I don't really want to put it up there in comparison to the higher end graphics cards, because they cost just as much as just the Xbox X for itself. But
yeah, I just looked it up, in a GeForce GTX Titan X with 12 gig of RAM, GDDR5 is $795 right now on Newegg.
Well, I thought it was gonna be like 1,000 or something, like 1,500, but
no, they have a new one out. It's the NVIDIA Quadro GP100 16 gig graphics card for $8,000.
So, I mean, with PCs, just to side to the PC side of things for a little bit, everything is about the latest and greatest PCs, but there's also another factor of just software compatibility, and how you actually set up your hardware. If you run stuff in SLI now, it's not going to run as well as just one 1080p card. First of all, if you're running anything more than one 1080p card, you are doing extreme overkill. You are doing some 3-monitor, all 4K monitors. You need 1080. You need two 1080 NVIDIA 1080 graphics cards, and two of them in SLI, and you got water cooling, which is also another thing I want to point out. Is the Xbox One X actually does have water cooling. I wonder if there's going to be any foreseen issues, because, you know, water cooling is pretty touchy if you don't do it right. I don't recommend anyone to drop a very darn thing because it can loosen a pipe or whatever in there and cause a bust. And that's going to do significant damage to the Mobo and anything else on your Xbox One X. So, just next thing I want to discuss is, I already said it can just compete with gaming PC. We kind of answered that. The answer is yes for more casual players, because you can find a lot of great games on the Xbox library. However, that is Xbox's currently weakest point, is that their library sucks. But they did pull a power move by getting exclusivity to PUBG on the console. I call that a power move because you ain't going to find it on PS4. And, you know, if Sony was smart, they would do a power move and own exclusivity to, or try to get exclusive rights to Fortnite to combat that. But, you know, I don't work for Sony. Otherwise, I'd be a billionaire by now. So we kind of discussed this already with Microsoft not wanting to really build new PCs or new Xbox One X's in terms of brand new libraries. You start from scratch, like how we've pretty much had pre Xbox One PS4 era. You know, PS3, PS2, PS1, Xbox 360, Xbox original. So to me, Xbox One X, like I said before, is making a stance. They're saying, hey, we're no longer doing this crap. We're doing the cell phone thing and we're going to upgrade you every year. So I expect like an Xbox One X S like next year, just like with Apple's One X, like Apple lineup, where there's like the original phone and then there's an S. So do you think PS4 has to respond to this, to me, in my opinion? PS4 Pro kind of was more of an answer to the Xbox One S, to me, in my opinion, because the Xbox One S, unlike the PS4 Pro, could play actual 4K DVDs, where the PS4 Pro could not, which is stupid. Which
blows my mind, since 4K...
They own the patent.
Blu-ray is Sony.
Right. They own the patent to that. Like, I think it's a utility patent they own, or whatever. So they, you know, they're the manufacturers of it. And how the heck do you not have that in your PS4 Pro? Someone needs to get fired from the whole PS4 project, because they have just been dropping the ball on this. And
I think PS4 feels like they have a solid leave above Xbox, so they're kind of just going to start dropping the ball like they normally do with every console generations. Either like Xbox did it towards the end of PS4 or PS3, and then they started stumbling, and that's how they ended up in this whole Xbox One era. So I think both companies do it. They feel secure, and then they just stop.
I don't feel like Microsoft ever feels secure, because it feels like their stuff is always, it's always meh. It never intrigued me to actually buy their stuff. Never was tantalizing, like, oh man, I need to get the new Xbox because, you know, to play this Gears of War 4 or Halo. That's it. I feel like in comparison, like the only console we can really compare it to is the PS4 Pro, because Nintendo Switch is doing their own little thing. They dominate the handheld market, I would say. So we're going to leave Nintendo Switch out of the equation. But PS4, Sony versus Microsoft. What do you think they're playing two separate games? I feel like Microsoft is really trying to play the hardware game, and PlayStation is really trying to play the software game, which is weird because they're playing opposite than what they really are. Sony is more of a hardware company, where Microsoft's a software company.
Well, wasn't the PS3 stronger than the Xbox 360, and it was still
Yes.
Underwhelming?
No, the it wasn't underwhelming. Xbox 360, the original one, didn't come with HDMI. It did not have HD, so the games were not in HD. Where PS3 came out swinging pretty hard, I would say, and then they got lazy. Like they
were lacking their exclusives, kind of like Xbox is. People
Yeah,
say Xbox doesn't have true exclusives because of Microsoft share now, but I guess it depends on how you look at it.
I was gonna say dismount.
Oh, that was it. It's just the whole.
Said dismount, Joe, not Joe.
I said Joe.
No.
I don't remember. What was the question again?
Well, I was asking, do you think Microsoft and Sony are playing two different games? Because Microsoft is playing the hardware game really hard, where Sony's kind of playing the software game more, like
I
with
feel
exclusives and stuff.
I feel like right now Sony is just playing. They're just keep doing what they've been doing because right now they're winning, and like like both of you guys said, they're just kind of they're being complacent right now because they're winning. I mean, why would you step up your game if you're not winning? And I think this is Xbox attempt to try and get some of that back. That's why they like stress with the 4K, the 4K, the 4K, the 4K, and Sony said when I remember back to like E3 when the PS4s were like first like really being put out there,
Right.
hey, this is what we're doing and whatnot. Their biggest thing was gaming, and I think that's why they kind of didn't go with the HD, the 4K player in it, because it keeps the console cheaper. I mean, right now PS4 versus Xbox One X, the Xbox One X is still $100 more expensive, like the Xbox One was when it first came out, versus the PS4. You could get a PS4 for, was it 300? Was it $400?
The PS4 Pro, I think, is $399.
No. The
Oh, the
original.
The original
I
was
think
300.
400. Was it 300? Yeah, and
that's right.
Xbox One was 400, but it came with.
Let me look this up real quick. That one verified.
But yeah, like even like right now, you can get a PS4 Pro for $399, whereas the new Xbox One X is $499. And so by not putting, the 4K Blu-ray player in it, you can keep the cost down, and you're going to sell more consoles that way. I think eventually they're going to have to go with the 4K player in it, just to. But they said, back to my original point, they said from the beginning that this is a gaming console. It's not a multimedia. Xbox was all about multimedia. You can hook your cable box through it. You can, watch movies that'll upscale to this and all that. And Sony's like, ours is a gaming console.
So to bring your point, this mount, the original PS4 was $399. The original Xbox One was $499 because they had that stupid Kinect on there.
Yep.
So the original Xbox One, that is, in comparison to this Xbox, is significantly less impressive, but was the same cost. That's stupid. That is stupid. No one wanted the stupid Kinect anyway. So why even force it down your consumer's throats? Because they did it up until June 9th, 2014, and then they just sold it separate, and it was $399, same darn cost as a PS4, like they should have originally done. Because that's two games that people could have bought.
Well, now they've done away with Kinect altogether. Like
because Kinect was stupid. They tried to copy the Wii.
Doesn't even work with the Kinect.
No, why would anyone want to use a Kinect? Like it was during that stupid motion phase where everyone had to have some type of motion accessory because they saw, oh man, the Wii freaking changed the game here. We gotta copy the Wii because it's selling out everywhere. No one wants a fucking PS3. Excuse my language. I'm not supposed to be cussing, but no one wants no stupid PS3. I want the Wii. Now no one wants the darn Wii.
Now you have two. You got to look at Sony has the VR, whereas Microsoft doesn't have any kind of VR thing. They're talking about bringing something in eventually, and it's just kind of rumored. There's nothing official. They don't even know like what platform they're going to go with. But since they've done away with the Kinect, like it won't even work on the Xbox One X. You got to kind of wonder like where are they going with that? Because like with the PS4 Pro, to get fully have the VR stuff going on, you have to have the PlayStation camera plugged in because it picks up I think head movement and the controller movement from like the little wands that they have.
Yeah, it senses the light. Something.
So yeah, it senses like the light bar on there or something. So
yeah,
like you got to kind of wonder like which way are they going to go. I know they have that Microsoft has that HoloLens.
Yeah,
so
that's AR.
Yeah, that's AR, and it's supposed to be more utility based than like a what's the word I'm using for it? Like more of a
don't think
darn kid
VR
device.
is a way to make money anyway right now. I think
Oh,
it's
VR.
a new market, but it's one that's probably going to slip like the connected. I mean, there's way that like VR and how it's being applied in the corporate sense, but as far as video gaming, I think it'll take a bit to be applied to video games to get to work.
Yeah.
VR for gaming needs to not be gimmicky. Right now, it's very gimmicky. I feel like the problem is I would want to be fully like I watched this anime Sword Art Online and it was flipping stupid because it now created this whole thing. But the point is that it was VR. It was hardcore VR. Like you didn't move or anything. You was fully immersed in the game. And that's what I want. I want the level. I just want to be fully immersed in the game. You know, if you die in the game, you die in real life. No, I'm just kidding. I don't want it that far. But, you know,
a little harsh.
Yeah, I want something more immersive, not gimmicky. VR just feels gimmicky to me. It's getting better, obviously, but as technology progresses, everything gets better. It's supposed to be, at least. But, you know, if this is your first time checking out the stream, just make sure you hit that subscribe button. You know, it makes me happy. Hit the bell button so you can be part of our discussion here. But, you know, it's just the Xbox One X is definitely it's a game changer for the consoles against PS4. Creeper Gaming, thanks for subscribing. You just subscribed. You're an awesome dude. Welcome to the stream. But the Xbox One X is very powerful. It's very game changing in terms of the power of the console. However,
I don't really feel like it's game changing. It is better, but I don't feel like
here's how it's game changing this mount. Okay, you set a standard. Okay, a lot of people are reactive. You know, with the whole motion thing that was reactive from Xbox and PS4. That was reacting to the Wii. PS4 is now reacting to Xbox. You know, the Xbox S first came out. You know, it came out first. Then PS4 Pro came out. Now Xbox One X came out. And now PS4 has to come out with something that's challenging enough. Or they could just say, screw it, we're not going to come out. We're just going to accept your challenge and not do anything. That's also a move they can do because PS4 has better exclusives. I want to talk about that next. How can... Go ahead.
The PS4, though, will still do HDR and 4K. So, I mean, it may not be as powerful as the Xbox One X, but it still does the same thing.
But see, here's the thing, though. It's still setting. There's still two. To me, there's still an issue that Microsoft needs to address, and that is getting better exclusives. Or at least, if you're going to have the same game, you need to make it so that people will want to buy the game on your console versus the other. So, example, Fortnite. You know, you should be working with the developers to create separate DLC on the Xbox or separate rewards.
Oh, we don't want
or whatever.
that. That's just bad.
No, Joe, I want that console
That's
war.
So bad
this is
for
the
consumer.
This is like the '90s again. It's not.
It's like Call of Duty with their get access to the thing. Their Call of Duty DLC 30 days earlier than Xbox.
Yeah.
And by the fourth one comes around, it's like 3 days before the next Call of Duty launches the fourth DLC. No, because then I don't want to play your game. I legitimately like.
Joe, you're not gonna play the game regardless.
Did that too. The DLC was releasing early on Xbox or something. I was like, I'm just not gonna buy your DLC now. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, that's because it's Ubisoft.
But that's just like, I mean, Activision does it. Like Assassin's Creed does it. Pre-order, get it. This map. Like, no, I'm not going to. Like, you can't trick me into buying your stuff.
Get this level only on PlayStation. Yeah, you can play the game on both of them, but you can only fight Anubis on PS4.
Get this mustache only on PS4.
Like content blocking a consumer who's spending the same amount of money because the publisher or the console wants to buy it. Like the Hawkmoon was on Destiny on PS4 only for over a year before it came to Xbox. Come on, man.
All right. So, all right. Content exclusivity. Outside of it just being a separate game altogether. All right, I guess that's a big no for Joe and for Dismount. It was just a suggestion, guys. Don't flip and tear my head off.
No, never say it again. Never bring it up.
But
burn this place down.
I'll burn this stream down. Like, wait, what? But all right. So we don't want that. but they need, to me, they need better exclusives though, game exclusives. You know, it's just, I feel like when I see PS4 come out with games, I'm like, holy crap, I want to buy that game. When I see Xbox come out with a game, like, is it coming on PS4? Nope. Well, I guess I ain't buying it. I just, I've always wanted to get into Xbox just because of Halo, but they don't even do that right. Don't even do that right anymore, I would say. Halo hasn't had any DLC. I think it has like free DLC, whatever. But I mean, that's
free DLC all developed in the Forge now. But that was my big problem with Halo Reach is they released tons of new maps, but every single map was made in their map creating system. So I think it's also Halo 4 or Halo 5 called the Forge. So all the maps were just very blocky, look similar to like the previous ones. No real big. Yeah, Halo did it weird. They had tons of microtransactions. In war mode, they delayed big team battle because of war mode, so people would buy their card system. I have a lot of problems with Halo. Yeah, but go ahead.
I mean that's the point, Joe. Like they have a gold mine that was Halo, and they ruined it. I mean, Bungie came out with Destiny, which is Halo MMO. That's, we kind of will play at first, but then we get bored of it because it's just a grind fest, and then they'll finally release some DLC. Then I'll play it again for like a week, and then,
And I think that's what they want as games as a service. If we do a whole podcast on games as a service, is I think it's also good for publishers with these systems. Like Rainbow Six Siege alone, if they developed a whole new console, there goes your whole Rainbow Six Siege player base. They had to port everything over, and you lose all DLC that your consumers bought. Everyone's switching over games as a service, air quotes. I think this is a good step for a step for everyone to not release, for the developers to just sustain the same game, like Destiny for 2 or 3 years, Rainbow Six for 5 years, Call of Duty for 6 months, that sort of thing. But go on.
All right, I'm gonna bring up our next topic here. Let me just give me a second. So I just, if you're gonna plateau out, why not just create? And I mean, this is just a thought. Just like with the stupid iPhones, you have 32 gig, 64 gig, whatever. Create different versions of your console, and then instead of doing like a 1.5 year update for each console, blah blah blah, let's just do like a 5 year. Here's 3 tiers, or 2 tiers of consoles. All right, let's not make it complicated with 2 tiers of consoles. All right, you got a pro version, and you got a whatever version. All right, because let's be real here. Hopefully, we will eventually just reach a point where we're no longer doing discs. I don't even really buy discs anymore, and just go to digital downloads. I mean, if you're playing on PC, you're pretty much just digitally downloading already. So what I would like to see from Microsoft is just say, forget the stupid Microsoft Store, because no one wants to buy games on there unless it's just for Xbox. But no one wants to buy games on the Microsoft Store. I bought one game and I regretted it. It was free. I regretted it.
All the systems are just splitting services. Like Microsoft, you could only play with other Call of Duty people, and so they started doing mass refunds because everyone bought it from Steam. It's all kinds of craziness, man.
But here's the thing. I just want Microsoft to just get out of that market. Just get out of the Microsoft Store with the games.
That's a big market to get out of.
No. But here's the thing, though. You partner with Steam. You just partner with Steam. And
$1 billion company.
If they were smart, I would partner with Steam so you can create 2 versions of your console. You can create your standard edition and your pro edition. And I mean, that's kind of what we already have already with the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X. You have your standard, and then you have your pro edition. You can then, have a little bit more, actually better graphics into your system, and you're essentially creating a Steam box, but it's a lot better than the current Steam boxes out there. This Xbox One X touts touts all the crappy Steam boxes that are out there. All the Steam boxes looks like trash compared to the Xbox One X.
It was half-assed by Steam.
Yeah, it was terrible. And any other company that came out with a Steam box is garbage. It is complete garbage. And it's the same cost as the Xbox One X. A lot of them were, and they don't play 4K at all. I think at max, some of them play 720p. And by the time you play it now, it sure as heck ain't going to play anything. So, screw it. Let's just get on the Steam platform, you know. Get out of the stupid Microsoft store, because it's stupid to have a Microsoft store for your PC games, because no one wants it. I'll just find it on Steam, and just partner with Steam and create an Xbox Steam box or whatever. Simple as that.
Here's the thing with the whole Microsoft store, though, is like Microsoft's done it to where they're kind of trying to do that transition from console to computer gaming. So, like, basically all of your Xbox One games you can play on PC.
Halo Wars 2, you buy it on Xbox, you can play it on PC.
Yeah, Forza. There's a bunch of them now where you can play them on your Xbox One games that you buy. You can play them on PC.
This is awesome. They call it Microsoft or Xbox Go Anywhere, Play Anywhere.
Yeah.
Probably one of the bigger steps in gaming that should catch on.
And you still have your friends list and stuff from Xbox, so you can still game with people. It's still connected to Xbox Live, so even if you're playing on your PC, you're still playing with your Xbox friends.
If that game's cross-platform or cross-play, like Rocket League.
Here's the thing, though. If you just remove that little conversion thing or whatever, well, not the conversion thing.
It's a money thing, man.
I mean, if you just export to Steam, you're tapping into
Steam.
But you are tapping a bigger market. To me, you're tapping a bigger market because Steam is bigger than the Microsoft Store in terms of PC gaming. More people are going to buy a game on Steam than a stupid Microsoft game.
Well, that's why they don't release them on Steam anymore. That's why you don't have... I mean, Rainbow Six Siege is the exception, but look at every Bethesda game. You have to download the Bethesda launcher now. They're all going that way. And yes, what Steam's trying to counteract is not making them cross-play. So if it's released on both, you can't play with that launcher.
Yo, what up, J2K?
Like you buy it on Bethesda or whatever. So I know what you're saying. I understand, but it's all about the Benjamins, man.
It is about the Benjamins.
Microsoft ain't gonna pay Steam, and Steam, that's why Steam doesn't. That's why
Steam
Steam's
dollars,
still private.
man. Yeah,
They don't want to release their earnings, and that's why Steam stays private, and that's why they're $1 billion thing right now. Or don't even really know. I know Gabon's like number 94 richest person in the world. If you're talking about crazy things. Well, that's all. We'll see. It's all about, they're all trying to take down each other, and
I mean, they're all trying to take down each other, but it's like the end goal is, to me, it seems like the end goal is to become a PC gamer. Get as close to PC as possible without it being a PC game or a console.
Really, do you feel like the controller's holding back console gaming? Like, in all honesty, do you think that's what limits on console compared to PC? Not so much like the graphics or the hardware, but you only have like 10 buttons on a controller, and you can only do so much with those 10 buttons.
I feel like
Keyboard,
once you start integrating any type of keyboard and mouse control, you are now just a PC. Your operating system is just the Xbox One X. I mean, it's technically already a computer, but it's more of a computer if you enable keyboard and mouse in any game at any time without it being like someone just creating an adapter that hacks into it, then you, my friend, have just created a PC, and it is a low-grade PC. But like I said, with this Xbox One X, I feel like Microsoft is just trying to make a PC console or whatever, a PC console, you know.
Which would be fine with me, as long as it's accessible to console users, and then you can eventually buy a mouse and keyboard and make it work better. And if I get like the same like crazy frame rates I do on PC or that sort of thing, then I'd be okay with it, because you got, I don't know, buying a PC
fine with it too.
Is like a total.
It's just, buying a PC is, it's a very daunting task. I say it's more daunting than the actual getting a console, because you're not worried about your console not running a game. With PC, you're kind of depending on how much you spent on it. It's like, oh man, I hope I bought this console. I bought
Game
bought
stays
the right
alive.
game.
Like Rising Storm Vietnam has concurrent players of like 1,000, and it's a $40 game. So,
I mean, that's another thing. Console PC games do tend to be cheaper. However, the fan base doesn't last as long as console, I would say. But it's hit or miss with PC games. It all depends on, can players play it? Is it graphically sound? Is it stable? All this other stuff that you really don't have to worry about with console. Console adds a level of safety. I would say that. Consoles, you're not worried about the game crashing unless it's just a trash game like No Man's Sky, or Infinity Warfare. You're not worried about that with console. With PC, you kind of have to be worried about that, because perfect example is Arkham Knight. That game was amazing on console, but was trash on PC because the port was terrible. I don't even think you could find it on Steam anymore. But I think they took it off for a certain amount of time, brought it back, and it was still terrible. But that was my rant. So, I mean, I guess the last question is my final thoughts on the Xbox One X is that it's definitely a step towards the PC gaming realm with this, because they touted a lot of high-end graphics, high-end specs, and I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think we're just going to eventually be heading to the PC realm, but it's like the console version or whatever? Or what are your thoughts on it?
go ahead, dismount.
I feel like it's definitely a step in the right direction. I think the whole 4K thing is blown way out of proportion. I was just looking up a chart here, as far as viewing distances, and it says like this 4K is more valuable on PC because you're sitting in a computer next to your monitor. So you're going to get the most out of 4K that way. Whereas with console, a 55-inch TV, you need to be 3.5 feet or closer to be able to notice a difference. So I feel like everybody trying to go 4K is kind of a moot point because nobody's really going to get the use out of it. I would like to see them go more towards processing power and being able to do bigger and better games. Yeah, games that look awesome are cool and they look beautiful and whatever, but I want to see, where you can, with PS3 and PS4, they started getting it to where, like with Battlefield, you could do the 64 player maps like you could on PC because it had the processing power and stuff to be able to do that. I'd like to see the consoles go more in that direction, than focus on, the big thing is, resolution. Oh, resolution is awesome. But I think it's definitely a step in the right direction. So I think this is definitely going to kind of set the standard going forward, is this whole multi-generation upgrades rather than, a new console every 10 years or whatever. So be interesting to see what happens going forward.
I think it's a cool step in the right direction. I like what it's doing if it's going to improve gaming, as long as it, like, I like the way it's not processing power. I don't have concerns. I just wonder how PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds is going to run on Xbox.
Yeah.
That's really, like, is it going to be the same size map? I have 4 copies of Battlefield 4. I have the Xbox 360, PS4 and Xbox One, because I went from Xbox 360 to Xbox One, and then all my friends got on PS4. So I guess that's 3 copies. Processing, you can do more things, but I guess it depends on where your market is. I mean, look at Minecraft. Who cares about seeing blocks in 4K?
Dude, I want to see those pixels.
I
see every pixel on that block.
So you gotta understand like what they're selling to. Like, the big thing was motion capture. Now every guy in the world, every gaming guy, they love graphics. I mean, whether the game's really, it has a lot of depth or anything, it's all about, does it look good? Does it look good? Does it look good? Like, so really, they go 4K because that's what's probably gonna sell. Like if they sit there and process like talking power and how it improves gameplay, no one's really gonna. You'll get the hardcore people, but you'll get like the guy who was excited for Ace Combat 7, which who was excited about that other than like two of my random friends I didn't even know. Everyone's excited for Ace Combat 7, but like, oh, Ace Combat 7 someday. Like those are the people that they market towards. Like you got to understand that minority in the grand scheme of marketing, it's mostly like your Call of Duty players. What are they like? Amazing graphics, repetitive gameplay, and microtransactions. So
Right.
they give you 4K 60 per second, makes everything look beautiful. Like 10 out of 10 for girls, like that kind of thing. That's all it is. So they know where they're marketing and they know why they're. So whether processing power will come second,
Well, 4K
just good looks.
4K is definitely the standard now. Like how it kind of, 1080p
It'll
or
continue to
HD was the standard. 4K is the standard, and 8K, then 10K, then 12K,
Big selling point for all
24K,
consoles.
2K gaming. But it's
Totally get away from it. Yeah.
this is definitely the selling point right now. Before it was just better graphics when the PS4 and Xbox One came out, like full real 1080p, because PS3 was 720p, and then now we have 1080p with the PS4 Xbox One era, and now we have 4K. So I mean, it's definitely a step towards PC gaming. I don't think anyone can really can say it's not, because I'm just saying the fact that these are computers. You cannot say it's not a computer. If you do, then you're a liar. But I mean, these are definitely computers, and 4K is what they're trying to play to. I mean, Microsoft knows their audience. They knew everyone wanted a Halo, so they gave them Halo, and everyone got tired of Halo, so we gave up on Halo. So we gave Gears of War 4, and then now we're giving them 4K, and now we got PUBG coming out on 12/12, which I'll be a discussion on its own, because December I think we're going to do 2 streams a week, because I have a separate initiative for December. I can't wait to do an update video on that for all you subscribers. Going to really enjoy it. We got some big names in here, big names in here, bigger than me, bigger than any of us, just huge. But that will be coming out in an update video. But Xbox One X, definitely if you're an Xbox, if you're a Microsoft fan, you're an Xbox fan, this is a great console for you. If you're not, then don't waste your money. Don't waste $500 on something you're not going to enjoy, or scam people out. Don't scam people. So Xbox One X is a must buy if you're a fan. If you're not a fan, stay the heck away from it, because you're just wasting money. But that's all the time we have for today. Next week we will be discussing Call of Duty World War II. I have a guy on here. His name is Fallen, part of Cyclone GG. He's a streamer. We're going to have him on here next week, and hopefully it'll be Thursday or Wednesday. He's really excited to be on here. I'm really excited to have him on here. So thank you guys for watching. It is your first time, and you for some reason you missed the first part of the stream. Don't worry. Make sure that you subscribe. Follow this graphic here. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell button, to be notified when we go live, so you can be part of this discussion. We like to talk to you guys too, so make sure you subscribe, hit the bell button, so be notified when we go live, so you can be part of the discussion, so we can talk to you guys too. We'll have Q and sub ready, so questions from the subs we'll try to answer to the best of our ability. But I was your host, King Shaka. And we had Dismountain Joe, who's not going to say anything. But we'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Peace.
Peace.